All right, greetings everybody. It is time for another look at a bunch of characters that are getting upgraded through the Dream enhancements, and similar style of batch, but a little bit smaller than last time. So hopefully we'll be able to get through this sooner. As just some notes for this video, Sylvie, I will be taking a look at once her full data is up on Wotv Calc, because I want to see it before I really talk about it. And maybe later tonight, even if her data isn't up yet, I'll just do a Master Ability 2 for this JP batch. And also, we will do a bit of a chat about UOC possibilities on Global, since Black Friday deals are going on. So, with all that being said, let's take a look at this batch. Mia, Lamega, Libiel, and Niv are not included in the Dream enhancement. Those are actually Master Ability 2s. So let's start off with Nia. And Nia, kind of a meme character before, could stack a bunch of stuff, but spoiler, she's dead. Dream ability, TP up by 30, agility up by 10, and upgrades one of her skills. And that skill looks to be just like large AoE heal. I mean, she's also gotten her rise improved. She's gotten a bunch of stuff improved over time, but it's a lower cost character. So if you're interested in this character, just go ahead and do it. I don't really think it makes too much of a difference one way or another, as we're not too concerned with Dream enhancements for lower tier characters. It's just kind of a, if you want to do it sort of thing. The cost is pretty low, so it doesn't matter. But going into MRs, now last time Nasha and Mont were there, so already using up potentially 2 of your lower tier horns. This time we're looking at 4 possibilities. So first off, let's dig into Ramada. And Ramada is a character that I particularly like because she's been incredibly useful in the selection quest. And here we're looking at initial AP of 20, attack plus 20, and a increase to her skill, her job level 25, which does all that stuff, but also decreases healing power now. I don't think it's the biggest improvement overall, but where she was pretty, just important for a lot of clearing out that selection quest for me. So I still kind of really like recommending her as being potentially strong, just because she was already strong, gives her a little more strength, maybe help people get through selection quests a little easier. And the water selection quest for Raychez is one of my more favorite ones. So I'm going to put her as strong, maybe a little bit more on a personal opinion, but I still think it's interesting. As for O, we're looking at slash attack resistance penetration of 20, always good for attacker. Luck up by 15, good for an evasion unit. And that brings us to what exactly is improved here. His evasion skill for himself and allies, 50 for himself, 25 for allies, and AoE resistance of 15. Now I can see where this would be good, and I can see people going 50 evasion, oh my god. But he doesn't have the sure hits around. I think he would die incredibly easy to some of the units that are out there. I mean, sure, if you get units that are just not ready for this kind of thing, then obviously, I mean, you could probably just evade everything. A 50 evasion for 4 turns is a pretty big buff for a good amount of time. So I'm putting this as a strong question mark. Good in certain matchups, potentially even really just a solid mid-level reincarnation if you want to get through the Thunder selection quest too, but other than that, I don't know, it just feels fine. I'm not overly impressed because I think that evasion is kind of hit or miss. Said the guy who tried for Yuffie, but anyway, potentially strong. Now, next up, another evasion MR character. We're looking at Shadowlynx, and Shadowlynx slash evade plus 15, pierce evade plus 15, and also we are getting a single skill increased, which is this one. So before, chance of blind, deals some damage. Now increases AP consumption for the target if they have one of the following effects, blind. So you need to be able to run blind. I mean, Shadowlynx was not really used in PvP, from my opinion, even in limited cost stuff. She was used, heavily in Selection Quest. So we have basically kind of 3 Selection Quest characters here that are, you know, if you, I would say, here's the thing. I think that overall, they're all synergistic to what kits are wanting to do. But Shadowlynx requiring to have blind on an opponent, if she can't land the status effect, she's not getting this new cool thing to it. I mean, it's kind of interesting, but also, like, it's weird because all 3 of these units are good in their respective selection quests, and will be even better because of the reincarnation. So I guess it depends which one you really want to do, and kind of just go from there. I think that all are potentially strong for their unique reasons. But in terms of, are any of these units going to show up in PvP, even in Limited? Probably not. I think Nasha and Mont were better in the previous batch overall for MRs, if you were looking on the PvP side. And if you're looking on the PvE side, well, then it's kind of just which one do you need to do, which one do you want to get further in, and that's the one you should reincarnate. Either way, it's cheaper, so it's not as big of a deal. Now, Seymore, I do know he's part of it, but we're going to jump ahead to the URs for a second and leave Seymore for last. Just as kind of a, ooh, what could it be? Alright, so Fredricka. Fredricka gets a missile attack plus 15 and AoE resistance of 15. Both of those are really good. And she gets 1 of her abilities increased. And here's the thing. This is one of the games of spot the difference. What the hell is the difference here? There really isn't. The only thing is that it seems that the range has been improved, unless there's some kind of data entry error here. It's basically just that she can hit units right next to her. Overall, good, more modern to what a lot of shooting units are doing. But here's the thing. Fred was kind of outclassed by the combination of Cloud and Lightning, and is incredibly outclassed by some of the stuff that Lightning is doing as an element. Long story short, even with the stat improvements and everything, this feels like a no. Just go for Cloud and eventually Lightning if you really want to push Thunder Ranged, and if you don't want to push Thunder Ranged and you want to push more the like Thunder in general, it's like Skahal right now, plus Resnick. So this feels, Fredricka feels incredibly pass for a reincarnation. Now, next up is Ketone, and Ketone, I mean, just to talk about Fred for one more second, I think that Fred could potentially still do okay, but in the long run, it probably just won't be worth it. Now, Ketone, she has the 200% chance to ignore a fatal hit, but that has become much better on support skills as it's not dispellable, essentially. The dream ability here of increasing missile resistance and magic resistance, okay. I mean, makes her harder to kill, even though she still plays on the evasion game. So let's see, is there skill that makes the difference here? 86, single target resistance of 30, single target resistance of 30, decrease healing power of 60 and 60, increase healing power of 20 for self. Now that's kind of interesting because it synergizes with Drain Rush, but overall this feels It's not really helping her evade more, and it's not really helping her do some of the other stuff she wants. I feel like Ketone is pretty much a pass. Unless you are a super Earth person. Like for 90% of people, I feel that Ketone is just a pass and don't even think about it anymore. But for Earth people, I mean, Ketone is still run on JP and run pretty successfully as an evasion character. But here, especially with the new Yuffie card giving another source of evasion for that character, I mean, there is more possibilities that it can just work in generally. But there are some incredibly new hyper-accurate characters. And more than anything, I mean, it's just if you're an Earth Elemental player, then this will probably be tempting. But so would Oberyn have been in the previous month. So it's kind of like Oberyn. But less so, because I don't feel like this is really helping her deal damage or evade things anymore. And her job level 25 ability is maybe not necessarily the one that she's rushing to use. So, I don't know. I'm going to say pass on this one as well. And last for the URs is Whisper, and interestingly, except for one other character, but yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second. I swear I'm not forgetting this stuff, just getting ahead of myself. So Whisper has been a type of character that for a long time has been, well, how to say this? She is like this really interesting, potentially like incredibly resilient character in terms of DPS. But the problem is that a lot of times she didn't have hatred, and her MA2 did give her some hatred, didn't give her a way of generating it. Now that we get her into the Reincarnation system, 15% missile and pierce resistance, which is strong. I mean, again, it's just more anti-damage for her. Like mine, for example, my unit, my Whisper, I've had this unit for an incredibly long amount of time, and if you just look at where she is, like in terms of resistances, already pretty strong. Add an extra 15% on some of these, and she's a really good tank for the dark element. But we do actually have something that she has long needed from this, which is her job level 25 not only increases defense and spirit by 20, but a 200% attack with 12 hate generation. Now this means that she does need to get in close to the target, but the targets generally on auto will move towards the unit. And if you have disabled a lot of other abilities, I think that she will be just moving forward constantly. You give her some defense and spirit, debuff resistance from TMR runes. I think you got a stew going here. Honestly, I think that Whisper is the best of the old UR units here, and it is probably going to be a strong one. Dark has kind of needed a little bit more of a tank to really be just unstoppable, and this might be it. I'm not saying 100%, as there could be a better dark unit in the future, but I think that Whisper is at least a strong consideration, especially looking at the other two old UR units in this batch. Nothing here really has grabbed me. So I'm going to say that Whisper, benefiting from the extra HP, the extra resistances, and the hate generation is just by far the best of all of the upgrades we're looking here. And I haven't forgot about her, of course, Yuffie. Yuffie, our fun-loving, materia-stealing ninja. Dream ability, increase AP by 15, critical damage by 15, and gets a skill improvement. Her job level 25, which moves the unit panel, gives 40% attack, and gets a little bit of an AP cost reduction, which is overall good, but, not incredible. So why, pray tell, you might be asking, Umbra, are you recommending this character for a dream enhancement or a reincarnation? It's strictly speaking the extra stats. Yuffie really needs as much accuracy or evasion and accuracy and stats as possible to just really give her as much to make her essentially work, because she can get around sure, but she wants as much evasion from as many sources as possible. This is another source of it. She is a newer unit and she is pretty dang strong. So yeah, as much evasion as you can stack anywhere, which in terms of the URs, it is kind of a similar feeling to how Ketone is in this update, of just being like, you want as much evasion as possible. If you're using the unit and you plan to keep using the unit, this is a good improvement for that unit. But I just don't like her dream enhancement, the initial AP and the critical, plus her weapon benefits are, pretty great together kind of thing. It's just that the skill improvement, I mean, unless I'm missing something and the data wasn't just put in, is pretty whatever. So yeah. But that's kind of how it's also felt with Sephiroth and Amneris. They've gotten improved, sure, in their abilities, but it hasn't been monumental, or it hasn't felt like as crazy good as some of the older units. Like, again, it's just a minor thing, but yeah, newer units still follow the rule of essentially, if you're getting this unit, if you're trying for this unit, you're probably going to Reincarnation anyway. And yeah, that's all there is to it. So our final unit today, Seymore, saving maybe the best for last. And we'll just do our actual rankings. Here you go. Just to redo, Yuffie's a must, just because. Whisper is strong, but I'm not 100% convinced. I want to see somebody else do it first before I say it's a must kind of thing for dark users. Ketone probably is a really good consideration for Earth, but you may not have the resources at this point. Maybe it doesn't make the cut. So that's also why Ketone is in a bit of a pass, because most people, I think, it won't really matter. Or really won't change your decision on using it. As for Fredricka, Fredricka is just kind of the most disappointing here, but Lightning just has so much better things going on right now that not it. MRs, Ramada, I put as strong and Shadowlynx as strong, and O pass, but after going through my discussion, I think I would put Ramada, O, and Shadowlynx as potentially strong, depending on which selection quest you want to do, as they would all be good in their own respective one, but that's a pretty big cost for doing a selection quest. Anyway, so that brings us to Seymore, and Seymore, defense penetration of 40, and an upgrade to one of his skills. And I mean, okay, defense penetration of 40 is a big boost to a unit's DPS, especially like PvE. I mean, I've used this unit in tower because I don't really have the best fire units in the game, and I just can't commit to building certain fire units. But looking here, looking at our, like, his damage is effectively improved overall, and here we're getting the same attack, increase evasion, and decrease AP consumption of 40%, which again improves his entire kit across the board. It doesn't really help him all that much be a better unit. I mean, the stats, yeah, sure, the HP is everything is nice, but it really doesn't change how Seymour's performance is going to be in terms of survivability, just that he's going to be a better overall DPS. So kind of a similar story against all across the MRs. Nothing incredibly amazing, interesting, but Seymour's is very, very straightforward. He's just even more DPS. So I'll put him as strong, especially for his element and selection quest, but not remarkable in many ways. So there you go, and that's going to be all for this selection batch. When we come back, I guess the third batch will probably be with Rafu, or whoever the next unit will be for the beginning of month of December. Who that'll be, I have to wait, find out. Thanks for watching, take care, see you next time.